No matter how smart, how fast these tools get, brand is going to be the reason why people trust your business, come to you, and return. It's the way they feel on your site. They feel, talking to a sales rep or reading a case study. It's defensible. It's your point of view. And that ultimately is going to be so critical in standing out from the automated pack.
In this series, we're talking to operators who are doing real innovative work with AI within the enterprise. Emily, thanks for joining us today. You're the VP of Growth at Vanta. Tell us a little bit of what you do.
We're a trust management platform, so we're helping you automate compliance, manage risk, improve trust in real time. So my team's in charge of pipeline at Vanta. That's both pre and post sales. So that's making sure we're delivering enough leads to our sales team to act on and convert. And my team manages a lot of the engines that go to market. So we take a lot of the case studies, content, and messaging and deliver it on ads, our lifecycle marketing programs, at events, and helps connect the journey for customers from initial awareness of Vanta and their problem to deal.
So one of the biggest shifts we're seeing in B2B companies is the trend of sales and marketing coming together. Tell me a little bit about what you're seeing there, how that's played out at Vanta, especially where trust is really at the core of the business.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to your point, Vanta's product is trust. So we've got a product that people are buying in security, and we've got buyers who are highly technical and really understand the decisions they need to make. And so we have to make sure that we're not creating a bunch of noise, we're creating clarity. And to do that well, marketing and sales have to be tied at the hip and build an engine that delivers the right message at the right time.
What does that mean, both in terms of how your team is organized and also now with AI tools, how you guys are using them to foster that bridge?
Yeah. So an example of how we're seeing this come to life. Let's take how we work with leads. It used to be a prospect would come to your site, they'd land on a landing page, and they'd fill out a form with their information, and you'd get a bunch of firmographic information that they've inputted. And the marketing team would supply the sales team with personalized content that they could send out, but it was more based on the persona because we didn't know much about the user. And you might have the sales team go on LinkedIn, understand the tech stack that the user has on their site, and position that a little bit more in a unique and personalized way. But now we can do that all with a click of a button. So we've got tools like Clay, we've got tools like Koala and Common Room that very much are allowing us to get even more and deeper information. And not just on the firmographic side, what's really cool is that they're looking at hundreds of different data points, including behavioral information. So you can understand the intent behind the buyer, where they are in their journey, if they switched jobs recently. And so that's giving us a level of depth of understanding that we can then use to really personalize their journey.
Yeah, so to double click on that, you've got all these great intent signals that are now being harvested by AI. What do you do with those signals, and how do you make it still feel personal to the buyer versus, just getting a sort of spammed email with the fields filled in with the personalization?
Yeah, well, that is very important. So first, I highly recommend you sit down and you outline your sales journey with sales, marketing, and product. And then AI tools can very much be helpful at bringing together all the data, so you're using it in a unified way across that life cycle. So a couple of examples of how we're doing this. We've got Clay. It's enriching our data. We're then taking Clay and we're integrating that data into our CMS, which happens to be Webflow, and we're updating our landing page in live time with the information we have that's relevant to the user. That same information is then available for our SDRs in their AI SDR tools. So think Alice, think Reggie. That's providing them information that they can then craft into outreach and be very personalized, but also in line with the messages that marketing is sharing. And even further, you can take that into your website with conversational chat and present the same data to your SDR who's communicating live time with individuals.
And have you guys built out the tooling to connect all those points, or is that sort of kind of happening through humans? Like, how are you able to make sure that thread really flows through?
Great question. Go-to-market operations is very much a very big piece of this craft, and it's bringing the data in intelligent ways together into our sales force, as well as ensuring we're using similar tools for enrichment, and those tools can work with other AI tools to build consistency in the data across platforms.
And do you like having multiple tools, or would you want it all to sort of be consolidated into one system?
I very much see the future being that a CMO and a head of sales is orchestrating across multiple tools, but within one system. Today, that's not the case. At the end of the day, yes, one system would be simpler, but these tools are so powerful, and being able to deliver messages in a more personalized way and faster, and personalization and speed are ultimately really critical levers for conversion. And so they're having tremendous impact on our team's efficiency.
And how do you guys, you're using all these tools, there's AI in the background, some of it's AI generated signals or content. How do you know it's working?
Really strong feedback loops with your sales team is critical, and that's meeting with them in person and in structured ways. But on top of that, we're using a lot of tools to help us get those insights. So on the qualitative side, we're using Gong, and Gong is taking all of our sales information and conversations and then giving us information on what points or positioning are creating the most objections or driving the most closed ones. And that allows us to optimize our positioning in more live time.
If you had to pick one thing that's really like unlocked time, is there a particular tool or like class of tools that you would point to?
So data enrichment very much is where we're finding the most value today, because it's able to give us not just so much more depth, but so much more depth live time that we can react to. And if you can know where you are in the buyer's journey and tailor the right message to the right time, you're ultimately going to make it so much smoother for the customer to go from curiosity to conversion. And that's what we're trying to do.
Is there an area you wish there was a tool that doesn't exist yet, or it's still too early? The whole class of tools is still early, but it would be a huge unlock for you and your team.
On the marketing side, we have been able to craft a lot of assistants and GPTs that allow us to not just do our work better and craft narratives, but remind us of all the tasks that we need to do around a given launch. And project management tools are very helpful, but you always learn and iterate in terms of what's working to get 10% better. And I have found that they are very successful at producing content when provided the right brand compass. And they're very good at reminding us of the tasks that need to get done or the learnings we need to follow up with. On the image side, I don't yet feel that we're there yet with the programs, but the opportunity is clearly coming, and the improvements we've seen in these platforms and their ability to create images has been night and day. And so I expect in a few months' time, we'll be able to use it.
It sounds like your team has built a bunch of these tools internally. So are you just taking like a chat GPT and have built out specific content generation through that written content, or have you found a tool that does this that you pay for?
Right now, I have found that it has worked best for me when I'm building a GPT for my team. And what's so important is that you put in the context that it needs. It's obviously going to do research on the internet, but it needs the compass so that ultimately you build consistency in all your different touch points. What we need to do to really get it to output the right content is to give it guidance for the different kinds of contents we have. So a LinkedIn post is going to have specific instructions, an email post or email is going to have specific instruction, a blog post, it's going to look very different. So the more guidance you give it and the more information you give it in terms of what's working, the better it's going to iterate.
That's so interesting that you've built internally, and there isn't a tool in the market that really does that. But as you mentioned, maybe it is that context that you're able to provide it, and maybe specific workflows that your GPT are being built around.
Yeah. And again, there's a new tool every day, and we go in with such a growth mindset. So I'm always encouraging my team to go in and try these new tools and see where they can get to. And Vanta is creating a budget to ensure that teams can go out and test these tools and have that growth.
And maybe to bubble up a little bit, if you look at your industry overall, you've been in marketing for quite a bit. How has the attitude towards tools or budget for tools and agency spend changed now, especially with AI?
Over time, every dollar needs to get more efficient is the reality. And that is the constant challenge for marketers, and it's the constant challenges for companies and startups. And so really thinking about how you can use AI to help you get more efficient, but also do more. The ability of tools to enable that workflow for us is going to be such an enabler of efficiency.
And, one thing we've chatted about before is there's a class of measurement tools, and then there's the tools that take action on the measurement. Where do you think we are in terms of AI tooling for both measurement and then sort of closing the loop and doing something with that measurement?
Oh, I mean, We're right now working with a couple different tools to improve our attribution. Those tools look like Hockey Stack or Dream Data, and they're able to do a great job of measuring the different touch points you have across your go-to-market, marketing and sales. And they're very helpful at unboxing what that journey looks like, so you're not guessing in the dark. But ultimately, with the changes in privacy and the limitations on pixel and data sending, it is becoming harder to understand what that looks like. I think the real opportunity for attribution tools is different ways of measurement and modeling that allow us to take in more and different inputs to produce expectations of output. And that will bring a lot of speed to businesses.
Everyone wants better measurement around brand and how marketing spend on brand is performing. Have you seen any of that change with AI and these measurement tools, or do you think we still have a ways to go, especially since content creation is still getting just good enough to start using?
No matter how smart, how fast these tools get, brand is going to be the reason why people trust your business, come to you, and return. It's the way they feel on your site. They feel, talking to a sales rep or reading a case study. It's defensible. It's your point of view. And that ultimately is going to be so critical and standing out from the automated pack. So use brand as your compass. Use it to inform how your automation is operating. And I promise you that you will see it drive such a better and seamless experience for your prospects going from curiosity to conversion. We're seeing it at Vanta.
Do you think there's a way for AI to be impacting your brand spend or brand strategy?
I absolutely think that AI is going to enable us to get much more personalized, which is going to impact the experience with the brand. At the same time, I think with personalization comes the expectation of white glove experience. And so your customers are going to want to make sure that human touch is still there. How that comes to life through community and other elements that only really humans can do today, I think is still going to be true in a future state where AI is influencing brand. And so make sure you understand your North Star and your brand center of gravity.
Thinking ahead, what do you think the marketing team is going to look like in, say, 5 to 10 years?
So one, for CMOs, their job is going to be about building systems and orchestration. They're going to be deeply partnered with sales and product on understanding what those systems look like. And they are going to still define the brand, the ethics, and the metrics, and they're going to support their team and AI working within that. On the team side, I believe we're going to see people become real experts in their craft. They're going to understand how to use these tools and operate at a scale they themselves have never seen before, which probably means less agencies and more people that are really skilled within the craft themselves.
So one thing we've talked about is how many specialists within marketing, so an excellent performance marketer will often go off and start consulting and be more of a contractor versus working within a single company. Do you think that shift towards specialization and these experts in brand, content, and performance marketing changes? So there's more people in-house, or do you think people will become more generalists with more tools? Like, how do you think that'll look?
I think it ultimately will become what is most efficient for businesses as well as what's most economical for the marketer. At the end of the day, marketers love their craft. They're as close as they can be to the customer. And so they're going to go to brands and companies that align with what they want to do. Being in more control of your day-to-day tends to lend itself to give you more ability to do that. And so likely we'll see more people go off on their own, become experts in their craft, and support multiple businesses in this way. It'll be more economical for the business and the marketer.
Do you have any hot takes on marketing and AI and the future?
So my hot take is the most defensible things 10 years from now will be your brand, workflows that require high trust, and data. So what that means in practice is we're going to see consumers really seek out brands that are able to give them human experiences. They're going to be overloaded with information that feels similar and what feels like robots doing things for them. And that's helpful. But at the end of the day, we're human. We want relationships. We want connection. On the workflow side, over time, I think everybody is going to start trusting more of these bots and agents who are doing these workflows. But there will be things that are very compliance heavy or health heavy that people are going to continue to want oversight on to ensure that these agents are doing the right thing and have the right ethics. And then data becomes our most valuable asset, right? The more data we have, the more we can do and build with agents and AI. And so having proprietary data is going to give you an edge against competitors and others in the market who can build similar products.
The magic question is how you get that proprietary data and how proprietary
always
it
the
is.
magic
Yes.
question.